Aloha. Happy Friday. Happy coffee, Hawaii, ohana. I hope you guys are doing really well. I wanted to get on here. I obviously this group is structured to be sharing about, hey Ricky, aloha. Sharing about our happy coffee and the amazing products that have changed our lives, and our testimonies, and just I love this community. And I also want it to be a place though of, especially in this season that we're walking in, of being there for each other and to lift one another up and encourage one another in just kind of how life is just different right now, and how to manage through that together, because we're all in this together, aren't we? We are all in this together, whether we are in Hawaii or beyond. We're all walking through this together as a globe, really. So for those of you who don't know, I am a homeschool mom of 4 children. I'm in my 3rd year of homeschooling, so I am by no means an expert at all. But I do have some, I think, helpful advice or tips or tools that could help you guys during this time where you are being forced to be a homeschool parent. And whether you feel like you're gifted at it or not, you are now walking in this identity, right? Or this job. And whether you have little kids or maybe high school kids, you can apply some of these to any age range. And so I just want to go through some stuff that has kind of helped me over the years. Maybe some stuff that I share may resonate with you, and may help just encourage you a little bit, because don't we need some encouragement right now? Can I get an amen? Anything will help in this season of being a homeschool parent. All right, I wrote some notes down, so I apologize for me looking down, but I got to keep on task. So one of the most important things is kind of structuring your day, but yet also keeping it loose. I don't have a 9 o'clock I'm going to do math and 10 o'clock I'm going to do science, and I just am not that structured. I can't stick to that, and it just doesn't work for our family. Some families probably love that, but for our family, it doesn't work. But there are some things that I typically do at certain orders in the day, and it allows for some structure, but not so rigid, and I like that. So I start out our morning typically after we've kind of had breakfast and settled down. Sometimes some kids are still eating breakfast, and I don't have a designated start time either. So I'm pretty flexible. I do have a 13-year-old, and she likes to sleep in, and I really like to allow her to sleep in. It seems to she's happier throughout the day if she gets that time to sleep. So typically I would say we start school between 8:30 and 9 o'clock. Fairly reasonable. We start out the day with read out louds. I do because I am a homeschool mom and I was already prepared for this. We do a curriculum. It's called My Father's World. And I get an outline of what they need to do during the day. So my whole, lesson plan is laid out. But I kind of pick and choose what order I do things in. So I love that to start my day off with reading out loud to the kids. It kind of helps them get in the homeschool mode and kind of wakes their brain up, and it kind of takes the pressure off myself to feel like, oh my gosh, I just got to hit the books right away. It just kind of warms us up to homeschooling, if that makes sense. And then I kind of let my day unfold from there. I won't go into the whole detail of everything I do because that would be boring. But some advice that I want to share, you guys, is there's some things that you can do. Now I realize that many of you probably at this point have online teachers teaching. You may be getting assignments that you're having to help with. I mean, I don't really know what it looks like for you, but there's some things that you can add into your day that can help your kids' learning, but with taking the pressure off of you as a teacher, okay? So number 1, YouTube is your friend. I love YouTube. YouTube, you can find science experiments that you don't have all the materials for. Like all the time I use that, where I'm like, I don't have these materials, but you can still, the kids can still see the experiment happen. Although they're not learning because they're not touching it. It's different, but it's still really good and the kids love it. Reading is like such a powerful learning tool, whether you're reading out loud or they're reading out loud or they're reading silently. Something we do every day is 20 minutes of reading that they have to read either out loud to me or to themselves. And I actually like to do that too because it gets me reading. Learning shows, Netflix, Hulu. I love if there's like a gap in my day and I'm just feeling like, okay, the kids aren't listening, my brain's exploding over here, but I want them still interacting in some way with learning. I love nature shows. I love like science, documentaries, those kind of things. The kids pick up so much information from those. So even though it's television, they're still learning stuff. Learning websites. So some things that I do for my kids who are ages 13 down to 7, I have 4. We do ABC Mouse, which is for younger kids from preschool to maybe kinder. We don't use that one. But ABC Mouse has another program called Adventure Academy for ages 8 to 13. And it's a paid subscription, but they might be doing it free right now. So you might want to double check. But the kids love that. You get to make your own little character and they go all over in these different areas and learn science and reading and math, and it's really fun. My kids beg me to play it. The other thing that we use in my classroom, my homeroom, is Homer reading. Homer reading is for reading for kindergarten to 3rd grade, and it's a computer program, and I really love it. And it's helped my 3rd grader who's struggling with reading a lot. It helps build this confidence in her, and there's some games and there's some activities that go along with it. So it's a really fun way for her to learn. So 2 of my younger children are on that. What's some stuff? Okay, so I want you guys to know that a lot of times you're going to feel like you're failing. You're going to feel like you're damaging your children when you're getting irritated and frustrated and you're all like the temperature in the room raises because you just can't handle anymore. And I want to just encourage you to give yourself some slack, to give yourself grace, allow grace in your children. Sometimes mama needs a timeout or dad. Sometimes you just need to step out and just be like, you know what, let's take a 15-minute break and just come back together in 15 minutes and just step into the bathroom for a few minutes and just breathe, couple deep breaths and just say, okay, realign your perspective, because it can be really hard. This is not an easy thing to do by any means. The circumstances in our world aren't easy to navigate, so let alone being forced to homeschool that you never thought you would have to do. So I understand the pressure that's going on. But you have to remember, guys, that the connection with our children is more important than their education. I've had to wrestle with that for the last 3 years, because sometimes I feel like I'm failing them in their education, which really isn't the truth, but my mind goes there. And you have to realize, though, that the connection that we have with our children is more important than their education. And to not let that bond or that structure break because you're frustrated with education. Let it go and know that you're not failing your children. They're not going to end up being more stupid because you had to homeschool them. Like, just get over that. Kids are so resilient. They're so smart. They're so quick to learn. And where there might be gaps in their education, the important thing is for our children to have a love for learning, because they're always going to have access to learn. They're always going to have books, internet, resources, people that they can go to learn, as long as they learn to love learning. And that speaks volumes into my heart when I'm feeling like, oh gosh, am I like they should be in 5 music classes and 10 art classes, and I'm totally messing up because they're not doing robotics. And, there's just a lot that you can't do at home that I just let that go. They're learning so much more than we realize. The other thing is that I wanted to is lower your expectations for your day. That's a very powerful tool. That's all I'm going to say. And then listen to your kids, because at some point kids get kind of restless. They get stir crazy. They're not wanting to focus, and you're just getting frustrated, and they're getting frustrated. The best thing that I do is I let them go run for 15 minutes. You would not believe how just letting them go jump, like I'll just say, go jump on the trampoline for 10 minutes. They get all this energy out. They come back ready to refocus again. Or I'll say, let's go, just go take a 15-minute rest on your bed. Let's just have some quiet time. Why don't you just lay back and dream some dreams, or flip through a magazine or something, and just kind of let them like decompress a little bit from some of their learning. Or go play some Legos. That's really, really powerful when you can just say, let's stop homeschooling for a few minutes. Let's give a 15-minute break, do something different with our brains, and come back in 15 minutes and let's restart again. That works. I do it probably 3 or 4 times during the day. Just, okay, we've been sitting here for an hour and you're losing your mind and I'm about ready to lose my stuff. So let's just take a break. Cooking with your kids is fantastic. Something great to do. They're learning. It's helping them with home skills, laundry, chores. Integrate that into your schooling, because it's like they've got to learn that stuff, right? You don't want them to leave your house without learning those things. So if you're not already integrating that, make that part of their learning. When you're homeschooling, it's so important to hug more, cuddle more, quality time. I just always say, I always get back to the relationship. That's more important. Connection with your kid is more important than the education itself. It really is. It's so powerful, so influential. Some things you can do to help yourself. I pray. I pray every morning. We pray as a family. We read a scripture, and that really sets off our day really well. And then I do my read out loud. Make sure, like I said, be flexible in your day. Some days, you guys, it is just not working. Homeschooling, teaching, the kids are off, I'm off, and we just call it a day. We just throw in the towel that day, and we usually will double up the next day, and it's usually not a big deal, but some days you just you can't do it. And it's like you're hitting your head against a brick wall, and you're not going to go anywhere. So you have to discern and say, you know what, let's just come back to this tomorrow. Right now, this one's a little bit hard, but field trips, if you can somehow get some kind of incorporation of a field trip in right now, whether it's just, driving down the street to look at the view and get out of your house, get out of the house. Those are really important learning exercises. Let's see. Always be open to plan A, B, C, D, or X. Your day is going to look different every day. It's just the way it is. We want it to be structured like school, but it's just really hard. It might be easier for some of you who are actually have to be on a schedule with your teaching because you have a teacher that's supposed to be there at a certain time. But for a lot of us who maybe don't have so much structure, we just have to be open to being flexible in our day. It's just so important. I think that's about it. Let's see. Free play, I already talked about that. Sometimes, I'd love to incorporate art with the kids. I think it's a great way to express themselves. And so I really encourage you guys, if you're not doing art, it can be watercolor, drawing, help the kids kind of be creative in some way. Whether it could be writing too. Maybe they're a writer and they could do poetry, some kind of art. I love putting on music, classical music for the kids and teaching them more about classical music, even if sometimes it's just in the background. There's something really powerful about classical music and having that influence. let's see, what else was I think that's about it. There's some really great resources online. Obviously, you can Google, like, we're going to make some Play-Doh, homemade Play-Doh for the kids. And we have an assignment to do that incorporates our learning. If you're doing something fun, like maybe you're learning about Egypt and the pyramids, you could say, hey, let's build a pyramid out of Legos, or let's have a contest to see who can build the biggest tower with, I don't know, whatever. Just getting kind of creative with your day and make learning fun. I have a friend who she did a Mad Hatter Tea Party. She was going to teach them etiquette, and so she made it fun. Somebody else, or another girlfriend of mine, she's in New Zealand actually, and she's a homeschool mom, and her husband downloaded an app. And he's a video guy, so, he has that resource, but they are making a video and adding these special effects to it and making a whole storyline. And so there's really fun ways that you could do education with your kids and make it creative and fun. So I hope this was helpful. I didn't, I'm no expert by any means, but like I said, the most important thing right now that we can do is just love and connect with our kids and realize that they are going through as much change right now as we are. And that's stressful. And the more we can just kind of hold our kids and say, you know what, when, they're melting down or having their frustrating moment or whatever, they're probably not able to verbalize the stress that they might be feeling because they're suddenly not at school and they're suddenly not with their friends, and they're realizing, oh my gosh, my world looks completely different than it did a month ago. And that can be very disorienting for children, and they don't know how to handle it. They don't know how to process it. And so the more we can just hold them close and cuddle them in and say, everything's going to be okay. I love you. There's so much power in that. So I hope this was helpful for you guys. Thanks for jumping on, whether you were here live or you're on replay. Hope this added value to you. And know that if you need more tips or more advice or have questions, please reach out to me. I would love to answer anything if I can. And I hope you guys have a fantastic weekend. And know that you are an amazing parent, you're an amazing teacher, and you've got this. Love you guys.